Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the Uptrend.com. In the pre-market this morning, stock index futures and gold are currently trading lower, while crude oil is continuing to move higher on Wednesday morning. Well, Tuesday turned out to be an interesting day, and aerospace and defense stocks were up over 1% on the day, and that includes a stock we'll look at later in the presentation. Crude oil spiked yesterday. It's back on a buy signal using the USO. Gold was up yesterday. It's down in the pre-market this morning, but we are seeing continued movement in crude oil to the upside on Wednesday morning. And of course, that big move up in crude oil helped the Canadian energy sector lead the North American markets, which were down on the day. But there we are, up over 3%, back on a daily buy signal. Gold stocks were up on the day, but not enough to reclaim a buy signal as of Tuesday's close. Now, the iShares for the TSX 60 ended the day up slightly, so the commodity stock certainly helped in that regard. Now, the VIX for the S&P 500 is finally back on a buy signal as of Tuesday's close, joining the major VIX ETFs already on a buy signal, which were up nicely yesterday. Now, the VIX for the NASDAQ is back on a buy signal. The Russell 2000 traded up through the upper channel line. It's not there yet, even though the Russell ended the day on a sell signal. And there's the VIX for the TSX 60 back on a buy signal. So VIXs on buy signals, of course, are negative for stocks and will become short-term bullish on the market once the VIX comes back and generates a sell signal. The Dow Diamonds are still on a buy signal, no change there. The SPY came down to the lower channel line yesterday, so we're looking for a close on Wednesday below $565.87. For the NASDAQ 100 ETF, we're looking for a close below $479.37. There's the iShares for the Russell 2000 back on a sell signal, joining the microcap stocks already on a sell signal. Looking at U.S. banks, they were down hard yesterday, and the regional banks were both down hard on the day. Then looking at Canadian financials, we were down just 0.23%. So nothing going on there, still trading and closing above the upper channel line. Semiconductors back on a sell signal as of Tuesday's close. We're using the SMH. We've got NVIDIA back on a sell signal, still waiting for AMD. We need a close on Wednesday below $156.48. We're back on a sell signal for Broadcom. For Intel, we're looking for a close on Wednesday below $22.04. And that would join Taiwan Semiconductor already on a sell signal as of Monday's close. Now, yesterday at this time, we took a look at Apple, and Apple traded down yesterday. It traded below the lower channel line, but did not close there. And so on Wednesday, we're looking for a close below $224.52 to give us a new daily sell signal. Today, we're looking at Boeing, and when I bring Boeing up on my screen, the first thing I notice is it's ranked a 1 on a scale of 0 to 10 on the weekly charts, and it's ranked a 1 on the daily chart. So given where the market is right now, we know this stock is both not on daily or weekly buy signals, and it's in the doghouse. Now, a chart's worth 1,000 words. All our charts are color-coded. Blue is bullish, red is bearish, so they're pretty easy to understand. When we look at the monthly right side chart for the S&P 500, you can see we're going from the bottom left-hand corner to the top right-hand corner. That's how Apple looks as well. So if your stock currently doesn't look like this, then it's out of sync with the market, and that is certainly true for Boeing. Boeing fell apart back in 2019, and since then it's been in a range from 2020 to where we are right now. And it's pretty well in the middle of the range, probably a little bit lower than the average price for the past 4 years, but there we are. Now, as we go from monthly charts to weekly and daily charts, we're looking at cycles within cycles. So not everything can match up. You can be bearish on a weekly chart and bullish on a daily chart, or bullish on a weekly chart and bearish on a daily chart. So we're magnifying, looking down within the bars of the monthly chart, looking at the weekly chart, and you can see in 21 and 22, nobody really liked Boeing. In 2023, people got excited about the stock. In 2024, we're back below the flypaper channel, and we must assume that the flypaper channel is going to act as a big wall of resistance if and when Boeing starts to move higher. Now, looking at this chart and this chart, you can see here's a short-term uptrend line. We broke that. And then on this chart, there's a longer-term uptrend line, and we broke that. You can see the moving averages. We would expect them to act as resistance on the way back up. So we don't really need to care about them too much at the moment. And we're still projecting lower prices down to the 120 level, which would take us back to the lows from back in 2022. And that would certainly be a logical target to the downside. Looking at the midterm chart, here's what I'm looking for. If I want to come back and buy this stock, I want to see something like this here or even this here. And we're not seeing that now. You can certainly have a positive momentum while you're underwater, while we're in a weekly downtrend. And I don't want to get too excited about anytime we've got upward momentum in a downtrend. The downtrend is usually going to squash you. So the trend is your friend. And when you're in a weekly downtrend, you should expect sell signals to be more powerful than buy signals. Looking at price targets, so we are currently moving down, of course. And so the next two price targets are 140.63 and 125. That's our immediate playing field going forward. Yes, could we continue to move lower from there? Could we break 100? Yeah, at some point we could, but you've got to deal with the targets that are ahead of you first instead of having wild targets all the way down to $100. Now, we're currently on a weekly sell signal. Things would change this coming Friday if we were to close above $174.35. I'm not expecting that to happen. And if that doesn't happen, that uptrend line is going to continue to move lower weekly. Now, you can see we're still projecting lower prices here and down to the 120 level. And again, we've got those targets which are below that level over here on the left-hand side. So you can see the elongated pressure zone here. That's telling us that we were expecting a cycle bottom right here. And we got a little bit of that, but it faded and failed fairly quickly. So that's why you're getting this elongated pressure zone telling us the stock is broken. And that is certainly the case for Boeing. Moving on to the daily charts, you can see we're trading below the flypaper channel. So any buy signal here, I would expect that the stock's going to have trouble getting through the flypaper channel. So that would be my expectation. I'm certainly not going to buy any 180 calls or 190 calls or 200 calls. You know, all the action has to be in here first until proven wrong. You can see we spiked out above the flypaper channel back here and then came back fairly quickly. So you've got to have reasonable expectations to survive, and having expectations above 180 is certainly not reasonable at this time. Looking at this chart, you can see the moving averages can potentially act as resistance on the way up. We're pointing down at the moment, so we don't really care about them. On the daily chart, you can see across the bottom here, these are the moon cycles, new to full and back and forth. And so when you're swing trading a stock, your expectation is that trade's going to last probably about 2 weeks. When we look at this chart, you can see, you know, we made a bottom off that moon cycle. We made a bottom off that moon cycle. We made a bottom off that moon cycle. We made a top off this moon cycle. When there is an absence of news, the market can often follow the cycles of the moon, as can the whole world. Now, looking at the midterm chart here, of course, we're in a weekly downtrend, so you would expect that most of the action to be underwater, and we've had a couple of ripples here, but again, our expectations would be that we move up to the flypaper channel, so we have limited expectations at this time. Looking at price targets, you can see we're trying to hold 150 right now. The low yesterday was 149.49, so we dipped below the 150 level, but certainly did not close below it. On the daily charts, you know, we don't get down as far as we do on the weekly charts. So these are cycles within cycles. We're going to break down below 150, 143.75, and then 137.50 are our immediate targets to the downside. Looking at who's in control, well, the pros certainly are not in control at the moment. Again, we're looking for them to come back at some point, but again, our expectations are limited for this stock. The first sign something new is happening is going to be a close on Wednesday above $157.55. That would be a buy signal. If I was short this stock, and that's what you should be if you want to trade Boeing, if you short this stock, you certainly want to cover the short position, and you do not necessarily have to go long. But if you went long, again, what are your expectations? Look 2 lines up, look to the flypaper channel. Those are your expectations. Looking at the daily panic zone chart, you can see we're still projecting lower prices here. We've got a pressure zone. This is the time and place we should rally. Again, you're looking at a broken stock, so again, your expectations of a rally should be muted. Now, I went through 15 charts as quickly as I could while speaking and explaining. If I was just doing it myself, it would have taken me 30 seconds to hit the left arrow on the keyboard to scroll through all of those charts. If I'm following Boeing, if I'm sitting here waiting to be a buyer, then the only chart I'm looking at on a daily basis is the right side chart. And if I do get a trend change on Wednesday, so let's say that we did close above $157.55 on Wednesday, then on Thursday morning, I'm going to come in and place an order at the open. And once that order is filled, I'm going to look at the price target chart and then put in my sell orders at the next 2 price targets. That hasn't happened yet, so I don't need to do anything on Wednesday. I'll wait to see if we do close above that upper channel line. If we don't close above the upper channel line on Wednesday, then that upper channel line is going to continue to move lower daily. Okay, folks, that's all for today's presentation. If you have any questions at all, please drop me a line, leave me a comment. Enjoy the rest of your day. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Thursday morning.